What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. Leeds United versus Arsenal preview, and I brought with me a good friend, great guy. He's been on before, and he's here again, back again for a second time. Turkish from AFTV. How you doing, man?
I'm good, KG, man. I'm all good, my bro. How's it going over there?
Well, I'm still awaiting confirmation of this game to get called off. I can't lie. I'm all the games this weekend that have been called off, and we're in the state we're in, and we can't just get a little cancellation going. But it is what it is. We have to go with what we've got and see how we get on. So, but listen, people, as you come in, or if you're watching the replay, please smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know who Turkish is. You know where to find him. Turkish LDN. His link is in the title as well. So yeah, Turkish Arsenal. We're both coming off very contrasting results this weekend. In the week. We had a particular result against Man City, and just for the Leeds fans in here, how are you feeling still after that result? But we get beat 7-0 very heavily. Nothing, no fight or anything. Bielsa looked like we've never seen him before after the game as well. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Nicholas, is that true? Is Creswell and Ayling out? Don't lie. Come on now. But listen, Bielsa looked dejected. He looked like he'd never seen that before. It's his heaviest defeat. It's our heaviest top flight defeat. Whereas you, on the other hand, had a really good 2-0 win against West Ham. And I saw the way you played. You looked full of confidence. You never believed that Everton result even happened. Your boys just got back on it. And you outplayed West Ham. So, Turkish, how is the mood in the Arsenal camp right now as you sit fourth place in the table?
Well, the mood's good. The mood's in a good place at the moment. I can't lie to you, but obviously, the Premier League table below third is very much, week by week basis. It can change quite a bit, especially now with COVID as well and a build up of games for other teams. Then I think Tottenham have got 3 games in hand. United got a game or 2 in hand now, maybe even 3 come this weekend. But listen, I'd rather have the points on the board than the games in hand. So I guess that's a blessing. Listen, after that Everton game, I said we need to get 5 wins out of the next 5 games. The West Ham one is probably the trickiest one of the lot. And if anything, I guess we'll take a draw. But in the end, when you look at that 90-minute performance, it's probably our best performance of the season in terms of first nullifying their threat. Because let's be honest, this season, West Ham have posed probably more of an attacking threat than Arsenal Football Club. Even though stats will say it's about equal. But in terms of their striking option in Antonio, our strikers haven't really hit the ground running this season. And yeah, West Ham have deserved to be in the top 4 up until the other day. We came out and done the job. We nullified their threat. And on top of that, as the first half wore on, we started creating chances too. The first half an hour or so, we done well in nullifying their threat. But we wasn't really creating much. However, that came end of the first half, and then what was good to see is the start of the second half, because more often than not this season we'll either be flying at the end of the first half and the start of the second half look a bit dull, to be honest, we don't really come out the second half well usually in games, but against West Ham we did. And Martinelli, I mean, I could talk for days about Martinelli and his potential. It's nice to see him finally getting his chances now. And what a finish, man! What a finish! I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen Thierry Henry, but it reminded me of him back in the day. The first touch, the finish
from the left.
Yeah, and even the intent to run in like that inside forward, he made it happen, innit? Lacazette with a nice through ball created the space, but Martinelli was just everything about that goal was perfect on Martinelli's part. And from there, West Ham did get into the game a bit more. We missed the penalty, but we put it to bed. Emile Smith-Rowe coming off the bench, getting another goal. I think that's 6 in the league for him this season, which is good. When you look at Emile Smith-Rowe 6 and Odegaard 4, that's 10 goals from midfield in the league. Game week 18 we're at, which is quite good in my opinion, especially from a young attacking midfield kind of pool that we have. Like I said, it's the strikers that's been letting us down in terms of goals, but hopefully, we can find something either in January, or maybe Martinelli is the striker to be.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't see any problem with playing Martinelli up front. I think he's got all the tools to do it. He just needed a run of games. And whether that would be unlucky through injury, he did seem a little bit soft when he first come in. because it seemed like anytime he'd go down, he'd be crying like a, he'd make the most of it where you think he's going to be out long term and he'd be back for the next game. And I think he just needed to adapt a little because you could see he had all the raw talent, but it's just about getting a run of games. I think that's what it is for a lot of young players. And I think Leeds fans here would definitely say that that's the same for Joe Gelhardt. He needs a run of games. He can't just play well one game and then take him out the next. Like, it's like, what kind of message is that sending? But you guys definitely have a good young core coming through, and they're of quality, which is the key thing. You can't just play young players just because. They have to be of quality. And like you say, the goals from midfield have been key. We're not getting any of that, by the way. Like, our central midfielders are really not giving us anything. So in terms of goals or assists.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of midfielders, I do have a little question in regards to Guendouzi. I know he's not going to be playing this weekend, but I do wonder, because what happened very early on in Arteta's reign, didn't it? And I just wonder I know he's a harsh disciplinarian. If it happened today, I think he may have got another chance, Guendouzi. But I think because it was at the time, he wanted to make sure that everyone knew he was the boss. Would you say that's fair, or do you think it would have been over with Guendouzi because of how he carries himself?
We don't even with that incident, we don't really know the facts. It seems like obviously Guendouzi was acting up on the pitch. Now, the acting up part, I like that sometimes, but when you're talking about wages and things like that, and that was the rumors, I don't like that. However, apparently Arteta brought him into the office and he failed to apologize for his actions, and that was the end of it. I kind of get you in terms of early on in Arteta's career, because those sort of incidents you want to stamp out early. Like, if we put ourselves in that, in those shoes, I think we'd probably want to do the same. If it happened a couple of years in, I'm not sure, because when you look at the way Arteta's dealing with Aubameyang now as well, and quite strict in the discipline, I think. Even though, again, we don't know the ins and outs behind the scenes and how Oba reacted to the initial, statement from Arteta and whatnot being public and all that. We don't really know what was said. For all we know, about flipped and marched to Arteta's office, smashed the door open. That we don't know the ins and outs for why he's now missing tomorrow's game too, because Arteta's come out to say that. But with Guendouzi, I feel like if a manager asks you to apologize in any walk of life, more often than not, you're going to apologize, probably because you need the job. Whereas with Guendouzi, I guess footballers are in a privileged position where you don't necessarily, you need the job, but you could be doing the job elsewhere, and you're comfortable in that thinking. You're not going to be, you're going to be littered with options if Arsenal don't want you no more, basically. So
I think the Aubameyang thing's interesting, or Turkish, because I think. Do you think it's going to come out in the dock? I hope so as a neutral, but do you think Arsenal are going to release that in the dock?
I don't like, everyone's got these high hopes for the documentary to unveil everything. I think it's going to be very, it's going to be spun, the documentary. I'm shocked Arsenal are doing it. That's number one. For me to make sense of it, I'm thinking that they're going to be heavily involved in the after editing and whatnot, in terms of leaving out certain things, leaving in certain things. So I ain't got high hopes in terms of unveiling any of to the outside fans, the juicy stuff. To us fans, the stuff that kind of we want to know, but I guess we usually never know.
Yeah, and listen, it is correct as well, because I recently watched the Toronto Maple Leafs ice hockey one, All or Nothing, and there were players in there that got their agents to get stuff edited out. So Amazon really don't have the final say on this. So if a player or manager wants something out, they will get it out before it goes to air. So you're right. It probably will be Arsenal's call. But I just wonder if, because the way he answered the question about how did Aubameyang react to having the armband stripped from him, he said he had to accept it, which kind of, if you read between lines, it means Aubameyang probably wasn't happy with that. And with that, you would probably think that there's no way back into the team. And he's going to be missing this weekend. Not like it makes a lot of difference to us, but Aubameyang will be missing this weekend, and Arteta has already said that. So I think it's probably a case now where the relationship is just there's probably too much water under the bridge. Do you reckon that's true?
On the game, didn't Oba score a hat-trick last time, Matt?
Yeah, in his worst season, he still managed
Yeah,
to get
we
3
could have
against
done
us
with
at
him
Brentford.
tomorrow. I can't lie to you. I would have been more confident with him there, even with his poor form this season, because obviously Leeds are open, so Oba would have loved that. You know what I'm saying?
He was literally cold last year. I need people to remember this. He was cold last year, and we rock up to the Emirates, and he picks up a hat trick. It was
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Leeds.
But in terms of the whole water under the bridge, listen, it's just come out recently in the past maybe hour or so. I think Matt Law, I'm not too sure who he is or what he is, but I've seen his name in and around, a
Yeah,
journalist or just something. I don't know what he does. But he said that Oba won't be training again with the squad before African Cup of Nations. So that
right.
kind of means he won't be training again with us until after, which is February times. So in my opinion, it looks
It's
done.
over.
It looks done.
Yeah,
It's a shame all of a sudden it's done like this, because at the start of the season, I thought Oba would be the one to see out his contract, and then we could either sell Laka and Eddie and bring in someone or whatever, do whatever with them. But now we're in a situation where Laka's leading the line, captain, and Oba's the one that looks like he's on the way out. I'd probably look to get it done in January. If we can get something in January, look, Newcastle are going to be, you know, Newcastle are going to be hopefully looking to bring in some names in January, to help them off the bottom of the table and to start their era of money or whatever it is.
Do you
Who
know how
knows?
many people are piling all their rubbish onto Newcastle?
Yeah, that's what. Listen, even Barca apparently are linked, because obviously Aguero's had to retire, and that's a massive loss,
Yeah,
legend of the game, and especially in this league. But
yeah.
Barcelona might need a striker. I don't know how much they've got. I don't know what Arsenal are looking to recoup, because I think Arsenal probably didn't expect to be recouping anything from Oba. I think they probably thought he'd see out his contract and that would be
Mm.
it. So maybe would be open to 10, 15, 20, 25 mil or whatever, bargain.
Yeah, I think with the Barca, with Aguero now retiring off the books, maybe they can use whatever they were paying him and pay Aubameyang on loan initially, then pay for him permanently in the summer. I can probably see that kind of scenario happening
Yeah,
for
because obviously
Aubameyang.
with the financial fair play and the books and whatnot, I guess it makes more sense for them to start spending after the next financial dates or whatever it is. So yeah, that probably makes most sense. But it's an interesting one, man. It's an interesting one, because if you get it, like if you put an end to it in January, that's an end to it. But right now, if we hold on to him when he comes back, it's going to be a case of, is he back in the squad? Is he all right? How's he feeling? And in February, we might be in and around the top four still. Do you want that sort? Do you want those headlines? Because I've seen Arsenal in the past where, there's years where we're in top four, close to top four, or we're in a good position in the league in terms maybe even challenging that Leicester year. And
Yeah,
negative headlines, throughout the season, whether it's this player's contract or that player's contract or that player's being left out for this reason or that reason. There's always something going on. I think so far this season we're fourth, which is good. Don't get me wrong, that is good, regardless of other teams not playing.
yeah.
We don't really need this other situation at the moment, which is a shame. It is a shame.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's a sour way for it to end because he was excellent for you. If there was one thing about him, there was always that debate, wasn't it? Is he world class? And I always said this about him: he's a world class finisher, not a player overall. And you can see with him losing a bit of his speed, just how much that's affected his game overall too. But I do think that maybe him and the manager just haven't got along, no matter how public they hug each other after a win and everything else like that. And I think this latest incident probably.
he signed for Arteta, man. That's what I'm cagey. Like, all the
Yeah, but you know what it is, Turkish, and I questioned it at the time. I said because he was linked with a few clubs that he could have gone to, and I
Mhm.
just felt that he signed where he was comfortable.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the way that he's played, you'd probably say that that's probably correct. That he was just comfortable at
I
London.
don't think anyone else would have offered him the money that we've offered him in the end too, at the same time. But at the time he was loved. He still is loved by many. Like I said, it is a shame. But in this industry now, sometimes you've got to be ruthless. And if this is the situation we're in, it's not ideal. But the striker situation had to be sorted out one way or another. It should have started in the summer, and
Yeah,
then maybe now we wouldn't be talking about the striker situation as much as we are, even if this was to happen. But because we didn't sort the striker situation out in the summer, and we've still got the same options, it's time to sort it out now. Start in January, I guess. Whether that's outs before ends, something needs to start happening.
Yeah, and shout out to Carefree Lewis G in the building. He's going through it a bit with Chelsea. I said this in one of our group chats. Like, he's gutted about a 1-1 draw against Everton. Yeah. Meanwhile, my team gets slapped up 7-0. Like the way football makes you feel, it's mad, isn't it? How football can make you feel. Like, I'm gutted because we've been humiliated, and everyone's seen it. It seemed like everyone was watching that Man City Leeds game. And he's got it about a 1-1 draw against Everton, but it all depends on where you are in the table. So that's fair enough.
Champions League winners at the end of the day. So their standards are, very high at the moment, and Tuchel's not doing it.
Yeah, listen. They need to get back on, because I've backed Chelsea from the start, so they need to fix up a little, man. Now they're like 4 points out. I don't think it's over for them, by the way. I just think that they need to get a couple of their injured players back. But I really didn't think that they would suffer this badly from injured players being out. I thought their squad was pretty deep. But I suppose you see there where the drop-off is. And speaking of drop-off in squad, listen, let's get to the game this weekend, man, because, man, I mean, all these rumors now. I mean, I just had a quick look on the internet just to see if Ayling and Creswell are both out. I don't know if that's true right now, as of now. But if it is, I don't know what we're going to do there. I honestly do not know what we're going to do. Who's going to play right back? Probably Drama will go in, another youngster. Robin Koch will probably partner Llorente, and Robin Koch has just come back from a long injury layoff. It's actually quite mad, and this is why people in the chat, Leeds fans, would you prefer this game to be called off, or are you hoping that it goes ahead and we just soldier on? Please let me know, because I can't lie. I'm always looking at the Premier League tweets and just hoping to see that our game's called off. But then it doesn't help when Mikel Arteta says we got no COVID cases. We're just not being helped at all. So, Turkish, going into this game, you're fourth in the table. You've heard about our injuries, and you know what? Just for the benefit of the chat, our injuries and suspensions. Injuries: Calvin Phillips, Patrick Bamford, Liam Cooper, Shackleton, Rodrigo, Struijk, and this week Daniel James, in case you didn't know, and Junior Firpo is suspended. And if the rumors are true about Creswell and Ayling, add them to that list. So, with you hearing that, how are you feeling going into this game?
Very, very confident, I guess. That would be the words. And it's not often I go into games very confident, especially away from home. But my confidence stems from, number one, the way Bielsa plays. I think when Arsenal come up against teams that are more open and their first instinct is to take it to you rather than assess what you're about, we're better than we are against a team that might sit back and stifle. That's why we might look better against the Leeds than we might do against the Norwich or a Watford, because they're going to set up different to how Bielsa is. So that's the confidence, number one. But number two, now, your form, the injuries, the list you just named that. We've done box to box on AFTV. I think that's coming out soon. I predicted 3-1, but I'm struggling to see where the goal's going to come from. And then I think Rafinha, and I think there's always a chance with Rafinha on the pitch and his form at times this season, even though he's coming for a bit of criticism, apparently. I don't really know why, but, when you set such high standards, I guess that's what starts to happen, isn't it?
That's what happens, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm confident to say the least, KG. I'd be surprised if we didn't win. But not that, I'd be surprised if we didn't win.
Yeah, listen, you have to, because, I mean, just speaking from a football fan's perspective, if a top four chasing club going to a team near the bottom of the league with so many players out and we don't come away with a win, I'm questioning why that's happened. Like, how is that? How have you made that happen, not coming away with 3 points? So that's where I am. I see some Liverpool fans in here, because I've dug Liverpool before when they kept on crying about injuries last year. Listen, I'm not crying, but listen, you do reach a breaking point with a list, and that list is extensive for especially a squad that isn't 25 people deep. So please allow me. But
and you also said there you could never trust and this is what it is. Liverpool away, I get it. cool. I'm very disappointed with the performance and the final result because I'm tired of that, especially having travelled up there. But it's Liverpool. I get it. Man United, disappointing, but in the end, their players compared to our players, they've got more, standout players that have been at the top of the game, so on, whatever. They've got the win. Everton, it's like,
Yeah.
Now Leeds, again, it's like, you didn't do the job against Everton, United, Liverpool. You've got to do the job against Leeds now. And especially after that West Ham result, because you don't want to undo the good work you've done midweek. Literally a mere 3 days later. So it'll be a massive win for us because, again, United ain't playing, Tottenham ain't playing. I'd rather have the points than the games in hand. As I said before, the pressure would be on them. So I can at least enjoy seeing, others trying to clamber back up rather than us trying to chase. I'd rather be in this position we're in now than in another team's below us at the moment.
Yeah, and that's it with us too, because where we are, we've got a couple of teams below us that have got to play games, but luckily one is Burnley, and they've literally won one game all season, so you can kind of feel okay about that. And like yourself, it would be worse being in the bottom three than being out of it and having people below you having games to catch up with, because they need to play these games eventually, and you don't know what kind of time frame that the Premier League are going to get these games turned around. Like, it could be a triple game week on one of the fantasy weeks. So there will be something to look out for, especially with people like Spurs. This comment from Robbie here: I'm worried about Melié's confidence after City. I don't worry about his confidence, but I do worry about the teams as a whole, because it was humiliating. So they either have to come out and be strong, they have to show that that's never going to happen again, or with all the setbacks that we've got, it could get to them and we could fall apart again. But I'm hoping that they all just get together along with the crowd at Elland Road and give us a performance that we can be proud of, because they also won after that one. The amount of people I've seen talk about this 7-0 is ridiculous. Every time I scroll on the timeline, it's there. Even my own mom texts me today about, are you over the 7-0 yet? That's how bad it's got. Okay, mom texts me. So this is on Bielsa now. Bielsa looked like he needed to get picked up as well. So hopefully they all had like some kind of big group, meeting and got together and said, that's not acceptable. We need to galvanize and get together. That's where these people earn their money. So hopefully they do it. And Meslier apparently was being scouted by Manchester United scout at the game as well. So hopefully that scared them off. so, so Turkish, in terms of your team, who are the key players that we should look out for against us this weekend?
Martinelli's in good form, and I think the way he plays can suit this sort of an away game. Saka pulled out his best performance of the season against West Ham. Emil Smith-Rowe come back and he's got another goal under his name. Odegaard's been in good form recently. To be honest, the threats for Arsenal Football Club come from those three attacking midfield positions and whatever three they kind of put together. I think now Lacazette's going to lead the line. There's no question about Laka or Oba. So Lacazette's going to lead the line. It's the three behind now. How do you accommodate all three? Odegaard's got 3 goals in 4 games, and he's picked it up a bit. The way he presses is probably the best out of the whole 4 of them. Then you have Saka, who, he's had a slow start to the season, understandably, because of the workload, but he's come, into his own against West Ham, pulled out his performance of the season. Then you have Martinelli, who's recently just got his chance, kicked on, got a nice goal. And Emil Smith-Rowe, who so far the whole season out of the 4, he's been the most consistent. It's hard to pick a 3 from the 4. But I think
that's a good thing, isn't it? That's a really good thing to have.
It's a good thing. Earlier you said Emil Smith-Rowe will probably come back in, and I'm not sure. He might come back in for Odegaard, I guess. He might. But I also see Arteta playing the same lineup, which would be Emil Smith on the bench again, with Odegaard starting, Martinelli on the left and Saka on the right. It'll be interesting to see what he does there. Or does he open up a bit more, maybe just partner Partey with Odegaard or Odegaard with Xhaka and add some more creativity a bit deeper in, which would be a risk. But against Leeds, I guess, you can be so open at times, it might be worth that risk. But again, you're pressing, even though it's been poor for large part this season, when it clicks, it can click. And last season shows how good you can press as a unit. at times. So
last season, Turkish. It's honestly not worth comparing the two because
yeah,
we don't even do what we was doing last season. I've said it on here before, but we used to hunt in packs. We don't even do that anymore. You're
yeah,
lucky if you get two players on one now, and that's where I'm hoping Bielsa comes in as well and adjusts, because we did adjust for the Chelsea game. There was a couple of man to man marking jobs going on, but in the whole, we were sitting back and letting them come onto us, and it kind of worked until the two silly penalties we give away. So that's again is something for Bielsa to learn from and just go for. Because if we go for man for man with the way that you're playing, with the players that you've got currently, what we're going to be putting out, it's going to be a long evening,
yeah.
long evening. And I mean, Jack Wilson here saying get Bate and Gelhardt in. For me, Gelhardt is an automatic starter. He should have been starting time ago, but now with all the injuries that we've got and out of form players to add to that, Gelhardt needs to start. Lewis Bate, I would love to see, but we've seen that he's behind Jack Jenkins for some reason. So I don't even know if we're going to see him play. Oh, okay, yeah. Obviously, Leeds fan here wants to know from your point of view, Turkish, how's Ben White doing?
So far, so good, man. So far, so good. I mean, we've got a lot of clean sheets this season. There's been times where he's looked a little soft in physical battles, but in other times, great in playing out the back and taking the ball out the back, not just passing between the lines. So there's pros and cons there, more pros than cons so far. And I think it helps that Gabriel's, stayed next to him, stayed fit. And in my opinion, Gabriel really kicked on from last season. So as a
Yeah.
unit, they look good. But obviously, Ramsdale's had a hell of a lot of saves to make, so there's still room for improvement. But it's still young in terms of this defense's lifespan together. It's what, minus the first 3 games, it's what's that, 14, 15 games together as a unit. And I'm talking Tomiyasu, Tierney as well as Ramsdale here. So yeah, I'm impressed so far. I'm impressed. Hopefully he just carries on. There was a time when Mustafi at the start of his Arsenal career was very impressive too, and it just
Yeah.
all unraveled. But hopefully, we've moved on from nonsense like that.
Well, that's it as well. And we mentioned Ramsdale earlier, but I just want to say as well, like he's obviously fitting in very well at Arsenal and he's doing really well. Because this Ramsdale, I have never seen, and I had to literally watch him for a whole season, every game as well, by the way. And he was not doing what he's doing so far. And obviously, it's a small sample size. You have to see how he goes over the rest of the season. But sometimes it just looks like there's players when they go to certain clubs, they just want it. They just
Yeah.
want it more and get involved, fix their focus and everything else. And plus, he was a young keeper anyway. But he's looking really good, Turkish man. For the money you paid, it looks like it's a bargain.
Yeah, the scouting team done very well with him, because I'm like you. I didn't see much of him, probably not as much as you of him. But what I did see is a good shot stopper. I thought he was similar to Leno, having like coming in a good shot stopper, but iffy with his feet again, which was what was confusing about the whole situation in the first place. But it looks like, given the freedom and given the allowance and the license to be, more creative and expansive from the back, has boded very well for Ramsdale. Obviously, at the last 2 clubs, he's probably not getting instruction like that.
Hmm.
Or he might have been, but you're not getting, I guess, as much authority on the ball against certain teams. Whereas at Arsenal, even though we haven't been great, a lot of teams still sit back against us, and it allows the keeper to play out the back a bit more cleaner. And regardless, I think Ramsdale's done very well. I'm interested to see, the season and how he kicks on, because so far he's also brought in a kind of leadership and some character, some
Yeah, he's
character.
definitely got character.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
like it, man. I like it.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, sometimes keepers can get very bored. So when they see their team scoring, and Arsenal is his team, a knee slide or a little celebration to the opposition or to the home crowd, it's nice, isn't it? It's like a little
I'm
connection there.
surprised you like that, Turkish. I'm
Listen,
surprised.
I don't like all the nonsense where we're coming from behind in the 90th minute against the bottom half of the table team, and it's drawing. I'm not with that. If we come back and win a game, that's calm. But with Ramsdale, I get it though. I get it. Like I said, it's nice to see that. And over the years, I think every great keeper has had character. I don't think
Yeah.
you've seen many keepers that are quiet and shy and all of that.
Yeah, that's it as well, man. And listen, he's been tremendous, and hopefully for you and my FPL team, it stays that way. But listen, for the people in the chat, get your score predictions in. Turkish has already said his 3-1. As I said on the box to box, my opinion hasn't changed. I want the game called off, but barring that, I'm going to go for. My heart is saying 1-1 because I'm hoping that the crowd can do something, but I've got to go with the overall play, and it's got to be 2-1 Arsenal. And again, this is for the team. As I say every time, you guys know, if I predict my team to lose, I need them to prove me wrong. I would love nothing more for them to prove me wrong. But just before we finish, Turkish, I said I had something to tell you earlier, and this is it here now. Now you need to just remember this would have been before the season started, before the transfer window really started, and there was all rumors and everything. I was gonna bet you, Turkish. I was gonna bet you that Leeds would finish above Arsenal this season. I need to give some context though. Let me give some context because at the time, you know, you guys had just finished 8th. You were a bit unsure about everything. You was linked with players that no one really heard of, and we were linked with some really good players at the time, like really, really good, like players that would have made a difference to our team. Because I really thought that we was going to get 4 players in to go into our first 11 and move some of these players onto the bench. We were linked with like Mateus Cunha, Tian Koopmeiners, Conor Gallagher, and Noah Lang. We were linked with all
Why
those
didn't you
players.
message me? You should have.
No. Because common sense told me that until I see these players hold the shirt, don't place no bet. You know,
I would have said deal so quick. You wouldn't even thought twice.
Turkish. If I put that bet on, I would have been asking out for cash out options right now. Okay, it would have been peak for me.
If we
But
made a
that's the reason
£50 bet, the cash out would probably be £49.36 or something right now, bro. So.
And the worst thing is as well, it would have been all right. I'd have been feeling good after your first 3 games because you lost all 3. I would have been like, yes. I'd have said,
Yeah, you
Turkish,
would have,
you
innit?
want to cash out. But see, that's why sometimes, you're glad to be smart and not and like reactive, because otherwise I'd be looking at money lost right now, and it would have been awful for me.
Next time, message me, my bro. Don't hesitate, man.
No, man. Listen, people. That's been the preview, and thank you once again to Turkish, man, because he's got the Big 6 coming up in about an hour. So if you're still around and want to watch more football talk, there'll be more. They will be talking about the Man City Leeds though, so be ready for some very, very harsh words to be said, and we deserve them. We deserve them.
Luckily, Big Steve's not in there tonight, so it can't be too harsh. But yeah,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, I did forget that. Yeah, he's not going to be there. But listen, people, if you're in the chat now, please like the video before you go. If you're watching replay, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and all that good stuff. And yeah, that's it, people. And Turkish, anything to plug before we go?
Nah, man, like you done it already. Big 6, 8 p.m, probably 8:05. You know what it is already. Yeah, that's it, really, my guy.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and I will see you after the Leeds Arsenal game tomorrow. Peace out, people.